Select the one sentence that best meets the requirements of standard written English. Taking a look at our choices, we can see that while the text remains more or less the same, the differences lie mainly in the order of the phrases and the punctuation. With this in mind, let's go through our choices to determine how to best format and punctuate this sentence. A. Many graduate students discover that there is a dark side to academia. Late nights, high stress, and a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages. This choice uses a colon to introduce the elements of the dark side of academia. A colon is used to introduce lists or quotes, amongst other things. And we do indeed see a list following this colon. A list of what students discover is the dark side of academia, late nights, high stress, etc. As this is an appropriate way to punctuate our sentence, this is likely our answer, but we can take a look at the remaining choices just to be sure. B. Many graduate students discover that the dark side to academia includes late nights, high stress, a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages. This choice includes a semicolon. A semicolon is used to separate independent clauses. However, here we don't find two independent clauses. Our first clause would be, many graduate students discover that the dark side to academia includes late nights, high stress. If we were to stop the sentence here, we'd need to write late nights and high stress, or some other appropriate method of making sure this clause isn't a fragment. And our second clause, a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages, is also a fragment. This could be the subject of our sentence, but this clause doesn't include a predicate. This being the case, we can see that a semicolon after high stress wouldn't be an appropriate way to punctuate this sentence, and we can mark this choice as incorrect. C. Many graduate students discover a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages, that there is a dark side to academia, late nights, and high stress. This choice switches around the order of the sentence, which, if anything, leads to more confusion. The colon after a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages indicates that what follows will somehow explain or emphasize this topic. However, what follows is just a seemingly random string of concepts. They don't fall under this topic of crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages. As these don't serve to explain a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages, we can mark this choice as incorrect. And D. Many graduate students discover that there is a dark side to academia, late nights, high stress, and a crippling addiction to caffeinated beverages. This choice is identical to choice A, other than that it uses a semicolon to introduce the list expounding on the dark side of academia instead of a colon. As a semicolon's job is to separate independent clauses and not to introduce lists, we can mark this choice as incorrect and mark our original answer, choice A, as our final answer.